have to thank you for that surprise this morning. When I saw David and Linda sitting up here, I thought, there's trouble brewing. And I have to thank Brandon. I don't know where he is right now, hiding somewhere to his day off. But what a blessing he's been to me as my assistant, especially with all the big projects we've had with the new land and new building going much smoother than we thought, and a little faster than we thought. It's going very smoothly. So we hope you're all at that November 2nd meeting where you can hear all the good news, and we'll take a vote to go forward. Meanwhile, I was gone last week because my sister came to visit. You know, I come from a family of 5 sisters, and we're down to 4 now, but it's always such a joy to be with any of them, especially my oldest sister. She and I are very close. And we were talking about family things as she was there, and suddenly we realized how different we all are, even though we have similarities, being raised in the same family, the same parents, and yet we're also totally different. And to me, that's proof of Unity's main teaching, which is that life is consciousness. Now, what does that mean? Consciousness is not always so easy to define. But let's start with the fact that God is not some outer being in the sky deciding, well, I'm going to bless you over there, but not you, and you can do the other. That's not God. God is the underlying essence of all life, flowing in and through all of us. And as I said in meditation, God can only do to you what God can do through you. Now, I grew up with this book called Harold and the Purple Crayon. Did anybody grow up with this book besides me? All right, and somebody said they're making a movie, if there's a series on it or something, I'd love to see it. But good old Harold and the Purple Color Crayon, he takes this purple color crayon in the book and draws his reality. Every time you turn a page, he's drawing something new into his reality. And our purple color crayon is our consciousness. You know, there's an old joke about a disciple who was talking to his mentor and said, "Oh, wise one, take me to the realm of perfect peace." And his master said, "Well, if I take you to the realm, it will no longer be peaceful." Wherever you go, there you are, right? Life is consciousness. Oops. And if there's any blocks, divine love can't get through. If there's any control, how can God get through? Or resistance, or unforgiveness. We could go on and on. Now back to consciousness, because this is all about consciousness. Luckily, there are 3 levels of consciousness. It isn't just one level, and this is where sometimes we get into trouble. First, there's conscious awareness. Right now, on the 3 dimension, we're here and now in this room, and most of you are probably pretty conscious of being here, right? Depending on what the night was last night, okay? And some of you in this room see only the form. You know, the chairs and the floor and the rug and the instruments. Some see other dimensions. Some see people's auras. Some people see dead people. Some people see angels or flying saucers or UFOs. What do you see? And how far can you see? I love the story, you know, of Abraham. God says, as far as you can see, that's yours. What do you see? Do you see lack of limitation or infinite possibilities? Or do you see the world as victim conscious through the lens of a victim consciousness? As Flip Olson said, what you see is what you get. For me, consciousness is that annoying time between naps. Anybody else take naps? Pretty annoying in between, isn't it? And then there's the observer effect of quantum physics. You know the observer effect. 2 atoms walk into a quantum physics bar. One atom turns to the other and says, "Are you having a good day?" And the other atom replies, "I'm not sure, nobody's observed me yet." All right. So consciousness, hard to explain, but it's the illusion, someone said, the illusion of separation created to entertain itself. I think we need to start streaming a different channel, don't we? This illusion of separation is getting old. And we need to wake up our consciousness. Which brings us to the second one, the subconscious, that we have no conscious recollection of. It's just sort of there. And that's the real Halloween. Things that go boom in the night come from our subconscious. All those suppressed memories or beliefs, programming, past experiences, things that block and interfere and influence you. And those triggers, anybody been triggered lately? And they're not there to irritate us, but to transform us. You know, I know just enough about astrology to be dangerous, but Pluto was ruling us for a while. And Pluto is all about transformation. And you know, if you have a subconscious belief that you're not good enough, the world will reflect that back to you. So what do you believe to be true about yourself and the world? It will be reflected back. You know, there was a man who regained consciousness from a car crash last night. And the doctors were trying to convince him that he was actually a Swedish guy who forgot his identity. But he said, I'm having none of that. I was in Bajoran yesterday. Subconscious. We got to watch that subconscious stuff. And that's why forgiveness is so important. Let it go. I got enough blocking my good. Let it go. Now the third one is our saving grace. The superconscious. That higher self, the Christ mind, our I am presence. And in meditation or prayer, we connect, we center, and we have access to all that is. And each of us must have, or we talked about the 12 powers of the Christ, so we're going to look at a different power each week until Christmas. And I've chosen the power of imagination today. Because the imagination is that part, what you see is what you get. So let's imagine something wonderful. By the way, did I thank Brandon? Did I already do that as being my assistant minister today with Minister's Appreciation? Did I? Okay. At my age, I don't know if I've said something before or not. Okay. But the reason I bring him up again is his consciousness is very high, and he's held the consciousness strongly for this new building project. Because if we imagine fear-based thoughts, what you see is what you get. If we imagine limitation, what you see is what you get. And fear blocks and miscreates. It can actually miscreate. Anyway, I'm going sidetracked. Fear cannot sustain a vision. Only love has lasting power. And that's why giving love to any vision, any dream, any heart's desire is so important. In consciousness, we start with knowing our union. What do you see? I know my union with God. I let go of fear. I give love to the idea, and then I let go and trust the flow of life. And sometimes it doesn't happen very soon, and sometimes it really moves along. Trusting either way. But today we're going to talk about 4 names of 4 teachers, 4 spiritual principles of consciousness. And the first one, I don't know if you're all old enough to remember Emmett Fox, but he was a great friend of Unity. He wasn't a Unity minister. He decided to be independent, but he was a great writer in Unity and teacher. And he talked about the law of mental equivalent. To have something, you must have the mental equivalent of it in your consciousness. And if you're having problems, those problems can't be healed from the state of mind that created it. Oops. We have to do something to heal that state of mind, especially those subconscious states that sometimes take a little work. But Emmett Fox said the secret of successful living is to build a mental equivalent that you want and to rid yourself of the mental equivalent that you do not want. Again, healing that subconscious and then imagining the desires of your heart and giving love to those dreams and desires. Now after him, along came Eric Butterworth, one of Unity's most powerful writers and ministers, and he wrote a book called The Concentric Perspective. And he said to imagine a circle around you and you're in the center, and divine love flows from within and out. He said that center is the mystical point where God extends itself as you, a point of changeless oneness. Isn't that interesting? That divine love just keeps pouring out of us wherever there is a block, wherever we're open-hearted and allow it freely. And that our evolution, our soul evolution, can be effortless. You know, an acorn doesn't strain to become an oak tree. Oh, I gotta do this, oh, I gotta do that, I gotta stretch. No, an acorn just allows that divine love to expand itself into that oak tree with grace and with ease. Well, from there, in modern times, Marianne Williamson wrote a book called The Law of Divine Compensation. And that's an old esoteric law of the universe, that you will be compensated with whatever you give out. In other words, if you continuously are giving out love, acts of kindness, and so on, then you will receive them back. It's like that circle again. Repeat with me if you're comfortable. I know my union with God. Together.
I know my union with God.
I live in the divine embrace.
I live in the divine embrace.
I mean, you're saying that, just imagine that your center, that divine love flowing out, expressing you without any effort on your own part. Now, the one part of Marianne Williamson's book that I really liked was she answered the age-old question. If life is consciousness, what about these starving children all over the world? Is there something wrong with their consciousness? No, we never do metaphysical guilt trips, do we? And she had the perfect answer to that question. She said, the consciousness of the planet has a collective lovelessness. There's enough for all. There's enough food to eat. There's enough energy. There's enough medical cures. There's just not enough love to choose it for all. But we live in a country and a world that has collective lovelessness. And the good news, she said, was that these problems cannot be sustained in the presence of love. We're not talking lovey-dovey here, we're talking the power of the universe, the creative power of the universe. I don't think we can top that one. But there is another woman who's been very popular recently, a quantum physicist. She probably knows the atom joke. And she's the author of Creating Your Quantum Field. And she plants seeds of joy in her field. Every day she gets up and says, how good can I get? And throughout the day, she constantly says, how good can I get? You know, we had a Unity church on the West Coast. Their motto was, the best is yet to be. And they constantly affirm that, the best is yet to be. Letting go of fear of the future, because fear is destructive, love is creative. And she would plant seeds of love and gratitude and joy throughout the day to create her own with her purple color crayon of consciousness. So we have to ask ourselves today, what seeds are we planting? What's in your mind today consciously? And what's working under there in the subconscious that goes boo in the night? And can we pray and meditate and connect with that higher consciousness of divine love and just allow it to flow in and through us? Well, I want to close with introducing our musical number that's coming up now. I've been waiting for this for quite a while. I don't know if you ever heard Skeeter singing jazz, but she's going to sing for me today, God Bless the Child That Has Its Own, a Billie Holiday number. And when you hear it, I want you to remember that a child that has its own doesn't mean that child's going to win the lottery or inherit $1 million from his parents. It's not about that child having handouts, but a consciousness having its own by right of consciousness. So let's take a moment.